What is going on, everybody? Today I am here with Jess and Karli of... What's up? How are you guys?
Hi, good. How are you?
Doing well.
Yeah, good. So tell everybody kind of who you are and what you guys are trying to do here with your new thing.
So I'm Karli,
And I'm Jess.
Nice.
and we just launched the Only Human Project, which
Okay.
is... Do you want to say a little bit about it?
Yeah, I was just going to say we're both like previous podcast hosts that have kind of come together, which will help everything else make sense. But the Only Human Project is basically a mental health company, and there's a lot of things that are under that umbrella. And one of the biggest things is our podcast called the Only Human Podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, but beyond that, we're like very excited to bring live events. So in the fall, we're doing like a college tour.
That'll be
We're
so
going to
sick.
be hosting like
So
live
before we go there, like I'm just gonna ask you guys a bunch of questions because I'm just very
Let's do
curious
it.
by nature. But what made you guys decide to come together? Because I feel like you both kind of had like your own thing. Was it like just like, hey, I think this would be more direction together? Because we were kind of talking about this before, but I was like, I feel like it's so much easier to do these things with someone else as opposed to by yourself.
Oh, totally.
Well, that's definitely true because when I was doing it by myself, I ultimately ended up stopping.
Yeah.
And Jess had actually started her podcast, so our timelines didn't really exactly overlap. But when we met, she had just launched her podcast, Figuring It Out, and I had previously stopped doing my podcast, Figure It Outable.
Yeah,
And
what's
so,
the chances of that?
I know,
Right?
it's so crazy.
Small
Yeah,
world,
so
right?
crazy.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a neat cute.
So how'd you guys end up meeting? Because you're from, I know obviously you're from Northeast. Where are you from?
Yeah, I'm from like Bucks County area.
Okay, sweet.
But yeah, Bree Brophy is a mutual friend of ours.
Yeah, shout out, Bree.
Which I always
Shout
say,
her out
it's
a
so
lot.
funny when she says Brie Brophy because I'm like, no,
She
Brie
said,
Hayes.
literally, we
I
were talking
know.
earlier and I knew, but I was like,
Right.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
It takes a second.
It
Yeah.
does flow nice though, Bree Brophy.
It does,
really
yeah,
cute.
but we both grew up with Brie, so we always knew her as Brie
Okay.
Hayes. But yes,
Yeah.
that was who introduced us.
Yes.
And you guys, I guess, were just like at the same party or something like that?
No, she just said, "Oh, I have a friend that does a podcast called Figure It Outable. I'll have to
Nice.
introduce you guys." So eventually, I ended up DMing Karli.
That's
and
like,
being
what is it? What did they used to call it? I'm like dating myself here. Oh, blind date almost. It's like someone introduced you just raw,
kind of.
kind of. Yeah, that's
well,
awesome.
We did have a blind
That's how my
date.
parents
did.
met, straight up. Yeah, through a mutual friend. I think this other person would be great for you. And literally,
Oh my gosh,
Crazy.
That's so funny.
So yeah, Jess reached out on Instagram just being like, hey, would you want to like grab a coffee? And we ended up meeting actually at you and Emma's favorite place, Steel Penny Cafe. And
dude, that's
she
one of my white
suggested
whale
it.
guests
We
right
love
there.
Steel Penny.
I would love to get on there. I love Steel Penny. Oh my god, don't get me started.
Yeah, so we met there just one afternoon, and I didn't think she was going to ask me to like join forces at all. Like I said, I had not filmed or recorded an episode of Figure It Outable for like a year and a half because I had like re-entered the corporate world, like got a new consulting job and was just kind of like full steam ahead with that. So I just thought she was just looking for a friend, and like I meet a lot of my like adult friends, I feel like, on Instagram because you just kind
Yeah,
of
it's just the way
like,
it is now. Yeah,
yeah.
same here.
yeah. And so when she did ask me, she was like, are you still doing Figure It Outable? Would you want to join forces? And I was a little hesitant at first just because putting yourself out there can be hard, and I wasn't really ready to do
yeah.
that again. But on my drive home, I was like, no, I think God put Jess in my life for a reason, and I would regret if I didn't take
Yeah,
this chance.
it's not easy. Trust me. I know. I struggle with that forever. Like we were talking about, I was showing you guys the studio, and I was like, I literally had this idea forever, and I still have other ideas too, where I'm like, this would be so cool to do, but like, I get hesitant because I'm scared. Like I always have like this like thought in my head, like everybody hates me because I'm like always online, like showing myself or whatever, and eventually you get past it, but it's still like a lingering thought in your head, like, oh man, like I just feel like I'm annoying people. You know what I
It's
mean?
so hard to self-promote. And it's like, we talk about Cringe Mountain a lot because I think when you do things like a podcast or a new business venture, it definitely can attract some opinions and some criticism. And I think like that's what stops
Yeah.
people from doing those things sometimes. to
No, I
begin
literally
with.
have like I had these funny moments now, like even doing this, like and we kind of talked about why I do this and stuff, but we were at Seaport and I was with Shane, Taylor, and Mark, like of all the people to be with. I'm at Seaport and I'm not kidding you, this random person comes up to me and they're like, yo, I saw your podcast, like I love it so much, and I'm like, I was so embarrassed in the moment. I was like trying to play them off or whatever, and now like I've probably had that happen like at least 5 or 6 times now since then. And now I'm a lot better with it where I'm like, yo, thank you so much. Like I ask them who they are.
Validating.
Yeah, it feels good, but like at first I was so embarrassed. I was like, but then I realized, like, why am I embarrassed? You know what I mean? And, like, I think it's always cool, the people that are willing to do that. Like, I'm not the type of person always to walk up to someone I don't really know and, like, dab them up and be like, yo, like, I like your stuff. You know what I mean? So I really appreciate when people do that.
Yeah, totally. I feel like we feel cringe ourselves, so then when someone else points it out to us that, like, they're watching, you're kind of like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's cool. You realize, too, like, I used to get tied up, like, oh, well, like, this video did this many views or this many likes, and it's, like, at the end of the day, like, a lot of people more see it. And I thought one thing that changed my whole perspective on it is, like, if you were to tell me right now, like, and ironically, you're going to be doing this, but, like, say you're going to go talk to 500 people in a room. You see 500 people in a room, you're like, holy shit. This is so many people. But if my video gets 500 views, I'm like, damn, it flopped.
Like, oh,
yeah, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
That's something that I thought about in the beginning of my podcast, too. I would get, like, 100 views on my podcast, and I was like, wow, that's not really a lot. And I was like, if I actually had 100 people in a room right now,
my God,
I would
be crazy.
feel so blessed. So
yeah. No, it's awesome doing that. So, yeah, give me, I guess, a little bit of, like, what your guys' plan is and kind of, so I know it's only human, right? So I know it's mental health focused, right? Like, what outside of that are you guys doing? I've seen a little bit of your guys' content and stuff. So kind of explain for everybody here, like, give us your, like, your elevator pitch here.
Oh, God, no pressure.
Why should you follow Only Human?
Well, first, to give you a little bit of backstory, like, the concept of Only Human has definitely evolved. Me and Jess met back in January, and it was pretty, like, instantaneous. We knew we were going to join forces and do something with her prior podcast, Figuring It Out, and mine, Figure It Outable. We were like, well, how do we come together? Do we want to create something net new? Do we want me to join her Figuring It Out because she had, like, really started picking up steam and, like, with her episodes and was in a good rhythm? And ultimately, we decided to start something net new, and we came up with the Only Human project. And the initial idea, which sounds delusional now, but at the time we were like,
every good idea sounds delusional.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. But we wanted to have celebrities on. We were like, all it takes is one. Like, I don't know if you know who Bobby Altoff is, but, like, she was known for like the deadpan shtick. She blew up and started having, like, Drake, Mark Cuban, and
she's funny. Yeah, she's got, like, a funny sense of humor. I feel like she's got like a dry sense of humor where it's like shows no emotion, but she's like cracking jokes. Yeah.
But obviously, in order to do that, you need celebrities to say yes. But we really felt passionate about, like, showcasing that even the most, like, glamorized, idolized individuals are still only human at the end of the day, and just being able to, like, sit down with them long format and just, like, understand their mental health struggles to make others feel less alone. And so we were actually, like, in talks with Mel Robbins' team because she has a podcast.
She's lethal. She's big time. Yeah. I've seen her talk before in Vegas.
Oh my she's incredible. Yeah. So similar to how, like, Alex Cooper's Unwell Network is, like, acquiring shows.
Right.
We were pitching that for Mel Robbins. What is it called? Mel Robbins 143 Studios, like her podcast company. And ultimately, it was just, like, not the right time. They kind of wanted a proof of concept, which made sense. Same thing with Dear Media. We're also in talks.
I think about that all the time, too, because, like, I like a lot of all my podcasts and stuff. And Emma, my fiance, is always like, you should do this, you should do that. And I'm, like, kind of like, oh, like, I'm doing this thing. I like where it is. I don't need to, like, expand it. And then but the seed does go in my head. I'm like, oh, what if I went on, like, something bigger or something? That'd be cool.
Yeah, I feel like you have to, like, dream big, and you have to ask the questions and put yourself in a position to be rejected. Only
shoot or
then
shoot.
will you.
I always say that. Yeah. But especially with celebrities too, I feel like not even celebrities, but, like, there's a ton of people that are willing, I think, that want to do this type of thing. Like, they want to sit down, and my, like, value concept when I first started, I was like, I have so many, like, great friends that are so good at what they do, like, whether it be a lawyer, a plumber, contractor, it doesn't matter who, they own a small business, a pizza shop, like, but they're not good at social media, so people don't know who they are. They're just like, oh, it's this business, you know what I mean? I heard it's good. Whereas I'm like, you guys want to get in front of these cameras because a lot of you guys are just awesome people, and, like, your entire personality is going to shine through the camera, and it's, like, going to be so cool. So I feel like there's people that if you guys reached out to would definitely be interested in doing it for sure.
Yeah, and we feel like for the celebrity, it also brings value to them because they're able to control the narrative and, like, feel heard as the human behind all of the headlines and all those things.
Yeah.
And we have a real interest with, like, sports, like, professional sports players too, just, like, thinking about the human behind it, like,
and
how they're beating themselves up about a bad play, but, like, we're really beating them up too. So
there's such an arena for that too, because I feel like as, like, people in sports, it's, like, obviously incentivized to be, like, macho and not tough, and especially it was like that for us growing up, like, at least me, like, playing sports, it was never like, oh, don't be upset or nothing, like, you don't want to show any signs of toughness. So that'd be cool, I think, for people to open up and kind of do that. I know, ironically, you guys' names previously were, like, the same thing. Were they, like, the same vibe? Like, were you guys...
Oh, it was the same exact thing.
That's what I was about to say. Like, the name's the same, so I had to figure... So it's just, like, I guess yourself trying to figure out, like, what you're going through in this phase of your life or whatever, maybe?
Yeah, totally. So to bring it kind of full circle, so that's where the Only Human Project started, and that was like the concept behind it. But we've since kind of pivoted, understanding that we do need a little bit of proof of concept. Yeah. So it's just a podcast with us, just kind of talk show style. We probably will have guests on, but the whole premise is just to like speak about everyday struggles that everybody's going through. We just recorded an episode about like the introduction, and then like climbing Cringe Mountain and
trying new
things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Want to talk about like milestones in transition, body image, like
one
stuff
cool
like that.
thing for sure I think too is you have such a like a wide sphere of what you're talking about. Like for example, like if I get on here and I have a plumber on here, like not everyone's gonna listen to a plumber. They don't, or whoever, an electrician. You know what I mean? You don't want. Whereas everyone's going through a struggle, so it relates to everybody. Like I always have like I always talk about it like making content like for something food. Like if you have a small business, everybody eats. Mm-hmm. There's nobody like for the most part. There's nobody like except if you're a certain type of eater, you don't like vegetarian or whatever it may be. But everyone likes to eat, so you're climbing that thing for everybody. Like if you have a sports podcast, only people that watch sports are going to listen to that, whereas like you guys I feel like have a good demographic where everyone kind of goes through those struggles, and it's nice to hear somebody else talk about it and then realize that it's like relatable. I guess
it's so validating when someone else talks about something that you think about in your own head and you don't verbalize to everyone else, and you're like, wow, other people feel that way too. Mm-hmm. And I think especially with my starting of figuring it out, it was just like we're all figuring it out, and none of us feel like we have it figured out, but everyone else looks like they do. It's just bringing the curtain back.
The irony too for you guys is that both helped you guys figure out this project.
Yeah. But
ironically, right?
Yeah, figured out
it's a good verbiage there. I think you never are gonna though. Like the number one podcast in the world, they're still evolving. Like even you guys were saying it evolved to this. I was thinking like the first thing that hit my head is like everything's gonna be evolving at all times. This is like more just curiosity out of me, and this is one thing I've dived into because I have a bunch of ideas too, but I feel like the hardest part is thinking of a name. So how did you get to the name? Like that is such an important aspect though. It is crazy, and you get exactly. You only get one shot for the most part. You could rebrand, but it ain't the same. And I feel like you guys do have a great name. So how'd you guys come up with that?
I'm glad you think it's great because it took us a while
so long.
Yeah, we were really struggling, and there's a lot of podcasts out there that have like figuring it out. Like we wanted something that stood out. And I remember I was like on the couch and I voice memoed Jess and was like, this is our name and this is what we're going to do. And it was the celebrity idea. So just going to show like the evolution of it and how we've pivoted. Right.
It makes sense though, because you're trying to help them show how they're
only humanized. People that we idolize. But now it's really just all about like making mental health less of a solo pursuit and more of a shared human experience. That's kind of our tagline, because if you think about how we like treat mental health right now, you're either like behind closed doors in your bedroom talking to your therapist, or maybe you are listening to a mental health podcast, but you're like just, you have your headphones on and you're just doing it alone on your walk. And yes, that's a portion of the Only Human Project, but we also want to make it a community. So we like daydream about like selling merch, like this hat where you see somebody walking
Discord.
down the
I
street.
feel like Discord would hit for you guys. Do you guys know what that is?
No.
I don't know what that
it's like it's basically like a big, it's hard to describe. So like I'm in one for like gambling. Okay, so a bunch of people from all around the world, they're in this, it's like a big group chat almost, but like within there they have like, all right, this is the group chat about golf, this is the group chat about football, this is, so like a Discord though, everyone, it's just basically one big community where everyone logs on and they're in the same thing. Like imagine if you were in a 200 person group chat with all people that are like really or that love what you guys are doing, but then you could like break it down where it's not just like one people in here, like some people in the group chat saying I have problems with whatever or my relationship, and then some people, their parents. It would be like, no, it's kind of like systematized where you could go in there and whatever you want to talk about, but then also there's a general chat where like anyone who's online can hop in.
So we want that, but we want that in real life, and we want it to be 2 million people. We want you to see somebody with a hat or a sweatshirt saying the Only Human Project, and instantaneously you have an ally, and that's somebody that like values authenticity and like human connection, because ultimately that's what we value.
And this was like my nerd, like I know random stuff, but like Emma always makes fun of me, but like humans at their core, like from an evolutionary standpoint, like tribalism is the biggest sense of thing you could do in anybody. Like it's in our every human ever, even before we were humans or whatever we were, everyone wants some sort of community. Yeah. That's why, ironically, like the worst punishment you could do to a human is like self-isolation. Yeah, because it ruins you mentally.
It does. Yeah. I mean, that's even shown with like the elderly, like when they lose their spouse, then like their health declines. But have you watched the Blue Zone documentary?
No.
So it like talks about all the blue zones throughout the world, which is like the people, like the places that people live the longest, like the most centurions or centurions. I don't even know what it's called.
I know you're talking about, yeah, over 100, right?
But they have like very different lifestyles and cultures. However, like there's one commonality, and that's like they all have community.
Yeah.
And purpose.
It's the biggest like sense of it. And even doing that, thinking about that, like I know obviously you're big into health and stuff. Like is there some sort of like health angle where you guys want to help that? Because I feel like that is so big. And that really changed my life, like realizing how much like me being healthy and doing things like helps my clarity from a mental standpoint. So is there like some angle that you guys are attacking it from that standpoint?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I feel like we definitely understand the connection between physical health and mental health.
Yeah.
And luckily, Karli is a Pilates instructor, so we're going to do some Pilates classes this summer in North Wildwood and kind of intermingle everything.
Talk about a good hotspot too, mental health wise. Like, wow, you cross that bridge and you get like 10 points boosted right away. Something about that bridge, I know.
It's science. It's a mind, body, and water. But yeah, we're doing. I'm teaching Pilates at Seaport this summer on Fridays and Sundays, and a lot of those Sunday sessions we're gonna make like only human focused. So we're not gonna like chain people down after class. They can leave if they want, but if they want to stay and grab a coffee and chat. We are very, like, passionate about just bringing a group of people together that want to.
Is that easy getting into Seaport?
Yeah.
They're great people. Yeah. I know a lot of them are judge boys. Yeah. So I know a lot of people that work there and stuff.
They're always looking out for me, which I appreciate.
They're a good time. So I guess so step one, obviously, we got it, right? So your main focus the last few months has been like, hey, we're going to get kind of this off the ground, right? Mm-hmm. How's that process been for you guys? Like, has it been a lot trying to figure out like, oh, we're going to start with this and that? Because there is a lot of planning, I'd imagine, that goes to it. That's like kind of behind the scenes. I feel like people think like, even me, like to a lesser extent, they're like, oh, like Matt just shows up. I'm like, honestly, kind of. But at the same time, like, I feel like I've gotten a lot better at interviewing people, which is part of that where it's like you're going to learn to talk to people and whatnot. So like, how has you guys started as far as like, what's your plan, I guess?
Yeah, it's been a lot behind the scenes. We've been trying to be so purposeful in what we're releasing and not putting things out there that we ultimately want to take back. And so we're just trying to be like with every detail so purposeful. Yeah. And so that has been a lot like the back and forth, like, what do you think about this idea? Should we do this? But we're also like just doers, so we are so excited to finally get out there and be able to give a product and get people together and start doing the thing that we keep talking about.
Yeah. We're very complementary. Like we are both doers, but I feel like we also have like our unique skill sets. And so I think like we definitely carry each other, but we're also so in sync. But yeah, like you said, like just being super purposeful and intentional, like from the website. Even the other day we recorded our first podcast episodes, and before we walked in here we're talking about how we weren't like 100% happy with the product. So
you might not ever get a point where you're like 100%. There's always going to be a little like hard. Something that you want to change or this or that. I know. Yeah. I was just talking to somebody recently because ironically, like my buddy did golf outing and I have someone else who's starting a golf outing now, and I just kept telling him, I'm like, yo, just do it, because it's hard logistically to get it off the ground. I'm sure the same is going to be for you guys. Like, once you know the process, like, hey, we're recording and this is what it's going to look like and this is when it's going to go out, then you could kind of, after you get a hold of that, you can kind of focus more on like, hey, how could we change or what could we do to kind of, but it's like building blocks. Like I feel like even my person doing the golf outing, he's like, oh, well, what if we did this cool thing? I'm like, how about you just get like everybody signed up and figure out how to run it. And then the next year you figure that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. They always say like, obviously perfectionism really hinders progress, and we're not trying to do that. But it's hard when you are launching your first couple episodes and you want people to resonate and be like, oh, I want to keep engaging with this. And I feel like those are like the most important episodes. So I think we at least put a little bit of extra pressure on ourselves. It's a combo of both.
I think one thing you guys are doing well too that I've saw, because I followed the page and everything, but I think one thing that's underrated is just consistency. Like, and you guys too have been posting a lot. Like, it sucks sometimes, but every day you gotta post. Like,
thanks for saying that.
I go through that process and struggle myself because I finally got like a content calendar. Like, I have everything where I try to systematize it, and I still struggle. Like, some days I'm like, I don't know. And my struggle is like, I don't like posting something unless I really like it. Like, I don't want to post. It's a weird balance because you don't want to post just to post, but I want to post that's something I like. But at the same time, I know the way you progress is by posting every day. So it's a bit like, but I feel like your guys' posts are cool. Like, they're like engage. I like all the carousels and stuff. Yeah, they're engaging where like you want to scroll to the next one. So like I feel like they're done well.
Yeah, it's been tricky. I feel like between Instagram, we're also doing like a challenge on TikTok for Mental Health Awareness Month, where every day
I gotta
we're
get you on
releasing.
TikTok. I'm in the TikTok game now.
Yeah,
Last
please.
month
We
I
need
just
all
hopped
the
on.
engagement we
I
can
feel
get.
like TikTok's one of the more, and I guess it's different, but I feel like you get the most like you can get the most traction with the least amount of followers on there.
Totally, yeah.
Like I only have 100, and I feel like some of my stuff, and the irony is like I'm posting sometimes the same stuff. And on TikTok, I'm like, this is going harder on TikTok than it is on my Instagram. My Instagram, I got 20, 30 times the followers.
Yeah,
like, it's crazy.
I feel like TikTok, you can reuse content a lot more, too.
Yeah.
That
So
helps.
so you guys are on what? Instagram, TikTok, and that's it right now?
Yeah, and then just our website. But yeah, TikTok has definitely been something we've been working on, but it's been so slow to grow.
Yeah.
And it's hard to show up day after day when you don't feel like you're talking to anybody.
Yeah.
But ultimately, we know that we're playing the long game.
There's so many people too that watch that you don't know, like aren't engaging, like that aren't liking it or aren't. They might be like, I always look at shares where I'm like, oh, I know these motherfuckers are out here sharing it to all their friends, but they're not liking
They're
it.
not liking it.
Or maybe my own boys will share it to me, and I'm like, bro, like the post.
Right. Which I'm like, I was previously so guilty of. Like, I will definitely, even like text messages sometimes, like our group text, I'll like read the messages and like love what's being put in there, but like won't respond.
Yeah, same
thing with social media, and they say like your videos on TikTok do better if you're actively engaging. But like that's really time consuming, especially
it is
when you're
such
trying to
a rabbit hole to try to figure out how it all works. Like,
right.
The more I know, and I compare it to, and this is a weird comparison, but like interest rates for real estate, I like made a point where I'm going to try to figure out how they work, and I genuinely feel like I know less than all the time I've researched trying to figure it out now, because it's like, oh well, this one thing triggers this and this thing triggers that, but that thing downs this, and I'm like, what the hell? And I feel like I'm down the same, like with the algorithm. I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how it works, and the more I figure out, I'm like, well, I thought this would hit, and like. It does to an extent, but I feel like it's just figuring out what works. Like, even on there, the one good thing about it is you have data. Like, it's raw data. It's no different than any other business or math equation where it's like, hey, this hit harder than this. My biggest struggle is figuring out the times. That's where I suck. Like, have you guys ever thought about, like, hey, we should post this at this time?
Yeah, we are purposeful about that. I mean, it's ChatGPT's knowledge, basically, is
Yeah.
what we're going off of.
Yeah.
I do that too, but I always am like in there like SEO orientated and stuff, but I feel like it doesn't make, like it's not like they're like this time. I just feel like sometimes I go off my Instagram stories, like if I go on there and I see like, oh, it has a lot of views within X amount of time, I'm like, oh, because like sometimes like yesterday I posted a story of my brother's game and I had like 200 views in like 30 minutes. I'm like, holy shit. Some days I'll have 200 in the entire day.
What time was that at? Maybe we'll steal your slot.
It was yesterday, so it was the most random time. It was like Tuesday, like night, I guess. I don't know. I feel like generally like Monday to Thursday are the best days because I feel like on the weekend like people are active and whatnot. But I have no idea. For the record.
Do you look on your thing when your followers are most active on Instagram?
Yeah, it tells you that, but it's such like it's not very niche. It's like it's like, oh, they're 3 out of 4 these 4 hours and 4 out of 4 these 2 hours. Like you're not getting a total drawback, but yeah, I don't know. It's a quirky thing.
It's definitely hard to figure out.
Yeah.
We'll let you know if we figure anything out, but for now we're open to all the advice.
Yeah. So what do you guys? So you guys are running your episodes on Instagram?
They're
Or
gonna
how are
be
you doing it? Like on a podcast?
All the podcast platforms,
Okay,
so
okay.
Spotify and YouTube will have video component, and then the rest will be audio.
That's sick.
And we're releasing every Monday. Starting June 2nd is the launch.
Monday, nice. That's my favorite day. So.
Yeah, just like start the week off strong. A little bit
Yeah. I feel like that's the day most people are on too. So originally my thing was gonna be like Small Talk Sunday. For some reason, I don't know if this is like embedded in me from when I'm younger, but I feel like the day should have whatever the name is should be the day. Like, if I'm doing, like, all my content, I'm like, oh, like, Free Money Friday. Or, like, I don't know why. I guess it's from, like, Throwback Thursday when we were younger. I have no idea why. But in my head, whenever my first ideas, and then I got to tell myself, like, no, it doesn't have to do with the day.
Wait,
you don't have to match
on Mondays, too, right?
Well, that's originally I was on Small Talk Sunday. And then I realized nobody's on Sundays. It's, like, the worst day. I looked at all the numbers. I'm like, why am I doing this on the worst day possible? So I'm like, all right, let me pivot to Monday. And then it's definitely done a lot better on Monday, for sure. But... it's just cool. I've like become good with, I don't care how it does is more or less. I'm more focused on like, just want to help people out, whoever I have come on and like show my all followers, hey, look at all these great people that are from the area and whatnot. So.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like when we were talking about before with like the numbers and being like super strategic, like that is important. But at the end of the day, I think what we care about is just like showing up authentically and not being super calculated. Like they always say, your vibe attracts your tribe. So if you just like keep putting out your vibe, I think that people will come.
Yeah, and if it rhymes, it's true. I know that one.
I think that's a fact. I think that's written somewhere that.
Yeah, no, if it rhymes, it's true. So, and I feel like for you guys, like the first time you have one of like these events, or the first person you run into the street, and they're like, "Yo, I was also going through trouble with this or whatever," and I listen to your thing, like that will make it worth all the time you spend doing all the stuff you don't want to do, like whether it be editing or whatever. Like, and that's what's so cool. It only takes one person for you guys to be like, "This was so cool." You know what I mean? Where it's like one person could share your post and you'd be like, "That's cool" for like 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Whereas like that one person who says that'll be amazing. So. I guess going off that, like now you're doing the videos, right, and the episodes, and you guys want to pivot to the live shows. So I know you said you already have a couple scheduled, right?
Yeah.
So how have you guys got like the logistics down? Because I feel like that is a new thing, right? Neither of you have done a live show. I've done not something that's been recorded, but I've done them at schools where like you go up and talk to the school, which is a kind of a different vibe. So yeah, I guess what's the plan for that?
So right now we're really focused on colleges, and we want to get into high schools as well, but we are basically going to go, and it's going to be like live podcasting, like talk show style. So it's going to be Karli and I in conversation with each other, talking about our college paths and like our post-grad journeys. And
that's awesome.
Because we feel like that's such an area of life that nobody really talks about, and you just feel really thrown into the wolves.
Yeah.
And it's so confusing, and we both had like very unique paths, and so I feel like just talking about that and being like, we went through this, you may go through this, or you may know someone that's going through this, and this is how it shows up and this is how it could feel.
That'll be
so
awesome.
Yeah, we have a couple of colleges lined up for the fall, like in tandem with some of their wellness weeks and like different events like that.
I know, and we were talking before that, I feel like there's such a good, like you guys are coming up at a great time because there's such a need for that. Like, what college is going to be like, nah, I don't want mental health.
Care about our students.
Yeah, fuck that. We're going to bring in some DJ or something.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah, like no college is going to be against that. And I'm sure whoever, like it's going to be so easy. And I feel like too, like once you get a couple like done, all the other colleges are going to be like, yo, come here. Like it'll be perfect. Like we do, me and my dad do like financial literacy at the high schools. So like we'll go there and we talk about it. And I feel the same thing. Like I feel like I'm talking to like a younger version of myself. Like, but at the same time, in the same exact sense, I seem the younger version of myself being like, yo, I don't give a fuck what you're doing.
It's true. I know.
I see both sides of that. It's not always like me instilling wisdom onto them. Like there'll be some dude that's sleeping in the back. Like, oh, sweet, I'm catching a nap here in my class today.
The way that we're thinking about it is like, hopefully if they listen to anybody, it's going to be like two girls that aren't that far removed. Like we might be like 10 to 15 years older than them, but at least we're not like some 60-year-old like droning
it's a lot
on.
easier.
It's a little
to
bit more relatable.
Yeah,
Totally.
I coach football, and I try to be that guy. Like I'm closer to you than the coaches that are yelling at you. Like I try to be the good cop. I'm like, oh no, that guy stinks. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Or like try to find a way to mend it both. But yeah, I think that would be awesome. So is there going to be like, as far as the show itself, so you guys are sitting there, you guys are recording the podcast, is there going to be some sort of like interactive thing for them, or are they just going to be like, hey, we're watching and then that's it?
Yeah, so the ideal setup is going to be like on a stage, we're going to like bring our little set, so like 2 chairs, little side table, and just be sitting like talk show style. We'll probably do that for like 45 minutes or so, and then we'll do Q&A for 15 minutes, and then obviously hang around at the end, like interact as long as they'd like. I think it'd be sick,
especially at Westchester. I feel like it'd be sick if you did something like in the quad, like set up a table with like a question or something, and you could be like, because the quad's got crazy traffic, like people walking through, like people will walk in and be like, what are you doing? And then bang, easy content. Like you could like riff off that or something. That'd
like
be a way.
Interviews.
Some kind of like that, but like they're gonna come to you as opposed to you initiating it, because you're gonna if you have a table at the quad, like people are gonna like. Some people are going to walk by.
Well, Westchester is one of the schools that we will be in.
And I went there, so I know, like, there is a very active quad there that everybody's walking through at all times of the day. So, like, you could go do your thing, and then you could do, like, some sort of question. I don't know. It would be funny. Like, I started doing, like, socials for, like, one of these Gallup football teams I'm on, and I've been doing, and I have a lot of fun with it. But, like, I put the tripod up in the camera, and then I just put a question. And then I'll like have them walk up and do it. Whereas like you guys could be there at the table, like what's the question or something, like what do you do for your mental health? And then they could go up and see what they do, you know what I mean? Or vice versa. You guys could riff with them. That'd be sick.
Yeah, we definitely have like thought about how we can be like more interactive. Like if it's not a full scale live event, like how we can just engage with the community. So even like Barefoot Country Music Festival, for an example, like we're trying to like get a booth there. Like we are really trying to think outside of the box of how we can bring mental health.
That's where it's so cool, because it's so easy for you to collab, because it's like again, it's something everybody goes through. It's not like
Yeah.
country people don't want to hear that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah,
could go to a
it's
rock one
universal.
too. You can do whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's so easy to kind of fit your feet into whatever shoe is on the table. So that's really awesome. Yeah, outside of that, like, do you guys have any plans going forward, or is that kind of where you guys want to start? I'm sure you do have a bunch of plans, but it's like, oh, let's get started here first, right? Like, it's a struggle you guys are dealing with.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say we definitely have big dreams.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's half the battle right
It
there.
is,
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
I think celebrity guests on the podcast is still within, the dream for us.
Yeah.
As far as like, we would love to do bigger scale events like retreats, different things like that.
Wellness retreats.
Yeah.
Speaking about like how we were before, like physical and mental wellness, like they are one. I feel like I think, things are changing. More education is coming out. People are starting to see them as one, but historically they've always been separate. And like, if you're healthy mentally, you're healthy physically.
I feel like too, without like going too deep down the rabbit hole, but I had some personal trainers on here, and I kind of asked them, and I felt bad because I knew I like kind of put them on the spot. But I feel like the entire country as a whole, media, all that, like they don't want you to work out healthy to fix your mental problems. They want to put you on some type of medication and like have you hooked. So it's like a quirky thing where it's like, I feel like it's purposely like nuzzled that they don't want you to know that you could kind of work out and get through some stuff.
I could talk about this all day. If I was going to get a tattoo on my forehead, it would be about this. Like, if you haven't read Casey Means' Good Energy book, like, it's life-changing, and I think every American, every human should read that book.
Let's get her out here. Casey, what did you say? What was her name?
Casey Means.
Casey Means, we want you on it. All right? You're only human. Get on. All right? Nah, that would be awesome.
Speaking of wellness, I can't believe you didn't even ask anything about our starter pack that you slid up
oh my God, I forgot.
This alone is
I've been
enough
busy.
Content.
Yeah, so you guys had the entire starter pack. I'm trying to think of, what was that from? So is that like an idea you guys got from somebody else? I feel like that's a great idea.
We were just like naming products that are true to us, and so like Jess, like hers was so Jess coded, mine was so Karli coded. You can say like a few of the things that showed up on yours.
Yeah, I think I felt like it was very random, but I have like a gratitude journal that I write in every day.
So does my dad.
My Yeti.
I have like 3 that like my dad's giving me, and I'm like, I'm not there yet, Dad. But yeah, we'll get there. He gives me a bunch of books too. I'm a big proponent. I'll always mess around, but I'm like, I always act like I'm reading, but I don't actually read. Like I'll post a picture. No, they know. Trust me. His whole family makes fun of me. But I'll like go to the beach and I'll take a pic of the book, and then I'll like go play spikeball.
You're the problem with social media. Don't believe everything you see.
And my dad has a bookshelf with 70,000 books. I'm not kidding. But my thing is like, I'm like in a nerdy way. Like I would like to read like Lord of the Rings or like Game of Thrones. Like I'm not into like the
self-help books.
Well, it's when my dad gives me it kind of feels like it's like the teacher's giving me like a summer reading project where it's like you gotta
like, there
read
will be a
it.
quiz at the end of the week.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to be forced into reading. I feel like that's
also
something you got to enjoy, and I have actually read and enjoyed it, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, there's something about like escaping in a good book too. Like you're not always in the mindset to like learn when you're reading a book. Like you want to just kind of escape reality and just like check out of your own life and check into somebody else's, which is okay for the short term. Like I feel like that's kind of cathartic sometimes.
No, it's perfect. In the weirdest way, like that's like what like video games I feel like for a lot of guys like my age and younger, where it's like it's something like in the sense of community, like you go on with your friends. So it's almost like you're hanging out with your friends. There's 3 or 4 people you're talking about, whatever it may be. No, like anything, no different. But also you get to play the game and like you escape from whatever it is. Like golf's kind of the same thing too. Like you go golfing and it's like, hey, for the next 5 hours I'm doing this. And you don't got to worry about whatever. Like, the funny thing I like about playing video games and golfing is, like, I put my phone down. I'm not touching it. Like, it's like I'm locked in here, and it's the only thing you're thinking about.
I think that thing, what it is like, you're actually blocking off time for, like, doing something that you enjoy. Whether you think about it or not. Like,
100%.
saying 5 hours for golf, like, you are designating that time to, like, you and, like, whether you think so or not, your mental health. Like, doing something that you enjoy. And I think that's something that we're trying to, like...
Yeah, that's going to be our viral clip. I'm going to clip that.
Say
wives and
girlfriends
all
over.
Send this to your girl right now. Because I send that to my fiance all the time. Whenever somebody says that, like, it's good for their well-being or something, I'm like, send that over.
I'm going to be so hated.
No, they're going to love it.
The coolest wife ever. She is a wife.
It literally goes both ways. Like,
no, it doesn't.
I just feel, no, it does. Except the difference here is girls are a lot better at planning it. Whereas, like, my problem becomes, like, my boys will hit me up tonight and be like, yo, you want to go do this tomorrow? And I'm like, all right, cool. And then it becomes like, oh, well, we had this going on, or it's not. Whereas your guy shit's on the schedule, like, 3 months in advance.
We have a shared app.
Yeah, I'm like,
the
you know, for the record, like,
yeah.
just because it's on the schedule doesn't make it any different. Like, you're hanging out with your friends. It's good for your mental health. It's no different for me. Mine's just... Guys are not good at future planning. Like, I always tell Emma messing around, I'm like, I am week to week. Like right now, it's whatever day it is. This week it's Monday because we have off. But once Tuesday comes around, I'm recycling and we're reloaded and it's a new week. I'm not good at like planning out whatever it is, which sucks because we have all these weddings now, and I'm always like, oh, we have a wedding next week, and I'm like, oh yeah, I knew about that. Meanwhile, like you guys are all like, you've been focused on it for like months ahead of time. Like I need to get all my stuff.
Well, lucky for you, you can just rewear
I know,
the
yeah,
same
it is a
suit
very
every single
blessing.
week.
Yeah, I have 2
go.
or 3, you know, and we're gonna rotate, and you're gonna pick the tie too, by the way. So I don't even have to do any of that. I'm just like, hey, we're wearing this, we're doing that. So
funny.
Yeah, no, that would be awesome. So I feel like for my starter pack, what would I do? I have a big water bottle, and yeah, drone camera would be sick. I want to say my golf bag, but I feel like that's not a day-to-day thing.
It doesn't have to be.
My whole thing now, like I've done a lot, like the last like month I haven't been drinking. I've been like doing all my health stuff, so I feel like I'd have like all my supplements. They're like my babies now.
What supplements do you take? Like, what are your favorites? Or like top 3. Let's do top 3.
No, I'll go through. So I have like a veggie one that I do. Like I just got the athletic greens.
Yeah.
I like them. I've had like a shittier one, but I got like a good one. I have a weird one. You probably like this one. I have hydrogen. It's a hydrogen capsule that you put into water, and it like hydrogens your whole water. Like I've gone down that rabbit hole. The weird thing is it's hard to tell like how efficient each one is because I'm on like 10 of them. So it's like, oh, is it the combination?
Right,
or like, I also think if I didn't take any 10 of them, like just me eating good and going to the gym and running, like I'd probably feel pretty good regardless. So it's hard to tell, but like, any little thing that makes me feel like, oh, I gotta do a little better, that's good. I just started doing creatine. I never did creatine my whole life.
I just started too.
Yeah. I was always a little worried because I'm like, my whole goal is like I want to like lose weight, so I'm like, I know it makes you gain water weight, so I was always like, and like growing up playing football, everyone used to tell me like it's water weight, so like if you're on creatine, if you stop, you're gonna lose the whatever muscle you gain. So I'm like, why would I take that if I have to take it all the time?
Yeah.
But I've taken that. I've liked doing that. I have collagen, all kinds of vitamins. That's pretty much the gist of it there. I have apple cider vinegar. All kinds of nonsense, I feel
like. You are
like.
in your health grind.
I know.
I know Emma's hating this, like, era of you not drinking, but I'm low-key loving it because I'm not the only sober one at every event. I'm like, I have Matt with me.
I feel like there's a lot of people that gotta look in the mirror at themselves because they're hating on me not drinking, but I feel like you're really hating on yourself that you have to drink, all right?
No, I
think
a lot of people
because I get a lot of hate, and I'm
drinking.
like, what are you, like, what's the, like,
See,
who cares?
I don't get why people care about what other people do. I don't care if other people drink. I want you to do you. And I have the best friends for that. Like, they know now, like, drinking isn't really serving me, and it hasn't for a little while. And so, like, I don't get that.
It's hard to not get because the social aspect, like, you want the social aspect of it. But, like, for me personally, like, I'll smoke sometimes too. Like, I could smoke and go out and have as much fun as if I were drinking without all the other bullshit that comes after drinking. Like,
yes.
And for me, like, if I'm going to be healthy, like, I can't drink because the next day I'll be like, all right, fuck it, I already drank. It's not even as much the hangover for me. It's just I don't give a shit after I drank.
Right. It's like the domino.
Yeah, like if I, like this weekend's Memorial Day, this will come out afterwards, but if I go down Thursday night and I could drink, I'm toast for the rest of the weekend. Like, there goes 4 days of my life. And for me, like, I don't have a fast metabolism, so my process usually is Monday to Thursday. Even when I was drinking, I'm great. Even Monday to Friday, I'll have a bad Saturday, and everything I did Monday to Thursday is literally like, imagine you just put in a bucket and flush it down the toilet. Like, that is, people don't realize it, but that is generally how it works for me. So, like, I need to string good days together. But I have been kind of like a little bit like, oh no, I feel like this weekend everyone's gonna want me to drink.
But it doesn't
and I'm
have
gonna
to be
drink,
all
yeah.
or nothing. Like, I feel like I've learned, like, moderation too. If I want to have, like, a cocktail off the menu that looks really good, like, I'm gonna have it. But, like, and just like you can have 5 beers, just maybe it's not 15, or maybe it is 15 if that's what you want that night.
No,
like,
exactly.
I think it's just like checking in with yourself and like taking the real time feedback and making each decision as it comes.
Yeah, I'm good too. I feel like too. Like, I don't. it sounds like bad or like alcoholic, but like if I'm drinking, I'm drinking, and if I'm not, I'm not. Like some of my boys will be like, oh, we're going out, or like this or that. Like even Emma can have a couple beers. Like I don't do a couple. For me, like it's just wasted calories. Like I could have 3 beers. It's not gonna change anything how I feel. It's not gonna make me hungover, which is great. But at the same time, like that's 300, 400, 500 calories that I just drained. Like, where it's like I could go run for an hour, and it's like that just flushed it down the toilet.
That's kind of how I feel. I'm like very all or nothing, but it's good that you recognize that and also recognize like drinking just like isn't serving you right now. And if it does in the future, that's great. But like just taking it.
I just don't. I like doing it. I don't want to be disrespectful, which sounds weird, but like this weekend we're going down to Emma's family. Like I don't want them to think like I'm like think lesser or anything because I'm like they're all drinking and I'm not. Like or like a big thing like if I go to any wedding I'm gonna drink. Like I don't want to have to you like literally paid for this open bar and everybody. Something in me that can't be disrespected open bar. Yeah, I have principles. All right. I'm not that crazy. All right. If there's an open bar, I'm gonna capitalize. Like even the funny part is the last time I drank was Alex and Kyle's wedding, and I was telling them that this week, and they're like, "No way." I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, it was nothing personal. I just was done. Yeah. I don't know. It was just a moment hit me. I'm like, yeah, I'm done here. And the other variable in all this, that's another driving factor for me, is I have to get married to Emma, so I'm gonna have to stand next to her. No, none of you motherfuckers have to do that.
You get
exactly. I get
to,
but Emma is gonna look really good, so I don't want to be like a fat idiot standing next to her. So I have to look good, and that's a hard act to follow right there.
I'm not going to deny that. Emma's the most beautiful person. I always say her body is a machine. She drinks like a fish. She eats, but like she can do HIIT workouts. Like I want her metabolism and her hormone health because like
she's good at flushing it.
After like a night of drinking and be like she'll be back on the train by 9 a.m. like on the Bachelorette.
I feel like part of it's like a muscle though. Like when you're doing Pilates, you're good at like I did them the other day. I never did them before, and a lot of muscles I had hurt that I don't ever use. She's pretty like active and doing stuff and in the mix. Like I always say, like there's an Irish word and she like epitomizes it, but it's called crack. It just means like you're a good time. Like you're the end. Like a good like a vibe would be another way. Like a good vibe. Like I'm sure when she goes on all them bachelorette parties, like she's kind of like a driving force of it. Yeah. So you'd be like Emma's great crack, but like she's so often doing that like she doesn't have to worry about it. Like if she took 2-3 months off from drinking, I think she would lose a little bit of her fastball. But I don't know. Yeah, maybe not. Who knows?
I don't know. I think
maybe she's
just
built different.
As well. Like her parents. Like I just feel like the caves. God has favorites, and it shows.
They're gonna love that one. We're gonna figure out really who's watching when they figure out that one. Because we're deep. We're past the Instagram video. You're gonna have to be like a true VIP fan to like that one. So but I don't know what else starter pack wise. Do you ever think about going down to your sister's school?
Penn State.
Oh, she goes to Penn State. I forgot.
We are going to Penn State in the fall as well.
I don't know why I thought she went somewhere else.
Really? Where do you think she went?
I think I'm thinking of someone else's
South,
sister.
Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she goes to Penn State. She loves it, but we are going to go there in the fall as well. So that's another like big school that we're excited about. But hopefully we'll have like I
love Penn State so much.
I know.
I never went there. When I was born, my dad has a camcorder. He says Penn State's next linebacker. But I've been taking a lot of heat because they've been just fucking up. So, but I love them. They're like one of my favorite places in the world. I want to go to a game there so bad. I haven't been.
You haven't been?
No, I heard it's like life. It'll probably change my entire life if I went there.
We should plan another trip in the fall.
Yeah. I'll come with you guys. I'll shoot your guys' thing, but then I'm gonna scoot over. I'm gonna scoot over to the football game. All right, and you guys can do whatever you're doing, Pilates, whatever it may be, or I'm gonna steal you guys and we're gonna go to a football game. That would be a riot. It would be like Only Human meets Penn State football.
Let's speak it into existence. We would love to interview the football team.
Yeah,
talk about their Only Human moments, mental health.
You could get me on there. I'll have a lot of script for you guys there. I'm going to ask Drew Allard why he threw that pick and he wrecked me in the semifinals last year. All kinds of stuff.
We'll get
but I mean, I think it's been good. So do you guys have any other things that you guys are thinking about or anything like that? You guys want to get out there in the world?
I don't think so.
We're just now excited for the June 2nd date launch.
That's going to be exciting.
So that's when your intro comes out, June 2nd, right? Yeah. And then that's a Monday, I'm assuming?
That's a Monday,
Okay, so then going forward, you're going to have another one there. And then what? You're just... How are you guys trying to structure it? Like filming a certain timeline out and you're trying to have it like banked like that?
Yeah, we're trying to do a little bit of a backlog so that we don't have to literally record every week. But
No,
it's
that's
going to
good.
be weekly.
That's one of the you're talking about the benefits of being a guy. That's a benefit of being a girl right there.
Planning.
Yeah. Whereas I'm booking people out as it goes. And luckily, I have enough people I know, in my head that have, told me, yo, I'll hop on, but then I'll hit them up, yo, how about next week? Whereas I'm sure people got them booked out, way out in advance.
You booked us out kind of far in advance. I was impressed.
That was good for me.
It was.
Yeah, I had a couple. But I booked, you, Carrie, and someone else, the same 3 weeks. So now after you guys, I have a couple people in line, so we'll be good.
Well, we'll come back anytime if you need us.
Yeah, I'm down. We'll dive into the men's mental health sphere. That'll be great. But all right, thank you guys for coming on. I really appreciate it. June 2nd, opening episode, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna be tuned in, I'm sure. So all right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.